Hi everyone, this is Rebecca at Betterbred. Today I'm going to do a test breeding demo for you guys. First though, I'm going to go to your breed page so we can take a look at some breed comparisons and then at your breed page. So thus far what we've discovered with Dobermans is that most are fairly inbred in comparison to other breeds. And you're also very bottlenecked, meaning that a lot of dogs carry very similar genes. There's a lot of dogs carry kind of the same variations of genes, and therefore that's what we would call bottleneck. There is some diversity in your breed right here, but it's not very well distributed. So if you look at all these breeds, this effective alleles per locus is essentially the alleles that are contributing to your breed. So here you can see there's a lot of bottleneck breeds. The better distributed breeds have a higher number here. So like Havanese and the Labradors and miniature poodles, these breeds have higher numbers, and so they're better distributed. And this number also should be compared to the average total alleles per locus. So you guys up here, you have 7, but the majority, the effective alleles are only 2.31. So that's a very low number. So that indicates that your breed is very bottlenecked. If you look at the inbreeding measurements, you can see that the majority of dogs are slightly more inbred than outbred. So a negative number in IR indicates outbred. A higher number of IR indicates inbred. And the only other breed that's similarly inbred is the Akitas. So I just wanted to show that. This is kind of how you can see how bottlenecked a breed is by how low this effective alleles per locus is. And then also we can go look at the allele comparison, and that will give us the OI. Now the outlier index is kind of the pulse of the bottlenecks in breeds. So the lower the number, the more bottlenecked a breed. So you can see here, your breed is the lowest, meaning that you are the most bottlenecked. The next bottlenecked breed is standard poodles. And we also we have a decent amount of genetic diversity in our breed, but it's not well distributed. So we are also bottlenecked. That's my breed. So here we as a population, we want to raise this number because the more bottlenecked you are, the more genetic diseases increase in a breed, and the more we will begin to continue to lose genetic diversity within a breed. So here I'm going to go to your breed page. And on this page, you can see the 10 most recently added dogs and also all public dogs. So the first one that I was offered, or one of the females I was offered, was, I'm just going to search the first part of the name, Bruda. Sorry if I butcher any pronunciations. Bruda Partion Angie. And this is a bitch. And so we're going to go to her profile page and talk a little bit about what we see on that. Okay, so now you click on these little expandable menus and it'll give you the information. So the breed, gender, what she's called, and then her pedigree or siren dam. I continue on down. We go to genetics. Now a lot of Dobermans have this same DLA type, the 2089 1094. That's, I believe, one of the most common Doberman DLA types. One thing that might be nice to think about in this breed is to try to increase the less common DLA types if all else is equal in breedings. Her outlier index is slightly above the breed average, and I've seen breed average OI go very, very low. And so anything above breed average is something that we should want to select for. That'll help your breed away from its genetic bottleneck. Now remember, these numbers don't tell you whether or not a dog is good or bad. It gives you a genetic information about the dog. Whether or not a dog is good or bad is something that you have to decide as a breeder through their health testing, proving them through titling, their temperaments, whatever is your most important measurements for your breeding program. Also, pedigree research is still important. Okay, so AGR. She is slightly less related to the other dogs in the database than is average for your breed. That's what AGR tells you. Internal relatedness. She's also a little less inbred than is average for the breed. HL is another inbreeding measurement. The higher it is, the more inbred. The lower it is, the less inbred. And then she's unrelated to that much of the breed, 60.53%. If there's any health information added, it would be here. Temperament would be here, and appearance would be here. So she's a black and tan. Okay, so I'm going to go up here to breeding tools, and I have a stud picked out for you to breed with her, but I'm going to talk about these different breeding tools. So potential breedings by genetic value to the breed. This will rank potential breedings by how high of an outlier index the dogs have in each category. So you'll still have the category breedings, which is how closely related dogs are, but it'll rank it by OI. Potential breedings by similarity to the breed, so how unrelated or related dogs are to the other dogs in our database. That's this one. And both of these tools can be used to breed away from bottlenecks. OI is perhaps a little bit better at that. And then potential breedings by genetic diversity between mates, or genetic similarity. So this will not rank OI and AGR, but it gives the same categories. So the dogs will all still fall into the same categories. It's just not sorted by anything. Or you can do potential breedings by color. So I'm going to go to potential breedings by genetic value to the breed. And I have a stud picked out because he was volunteered. And this will give an indication of a kind of close breeding. But here you can see all the unrelated dogs. So category 10 is the least related and will produce the lowest IR breeding, meaning more outbred puppies. Now all these breedings will have a range. Category 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 1 is complete twins. It's not common to have twins in dogs, but it does happen. And then category 2, category 3, these will be actual close relatives. So these dogs are likely related in some, I would even guess in pedigree, since they're at 3/4 siblings, but not always. So we keep going up, and I picked for a potential breeding to be to AKC UKC champion Winsog's Fortune Hunter B Shellian. So I'm going to push breed. And then this is going to randomly compute the genetics for 500 simulated puppies. Now, if you wanted to do more, I can do a drop down and go up to as high as 3,000 puppies simulated. And the more and more you do, the better your statistics will be in predicting what you will produce. But here, the first 3 things on this list are the stud. The last thing is the genetic relatedness between the 2 dogs. So his outlier index is 0.25, which is above your breed average, which is 0.17. AGR is negative 0.18, meaning he is unrelated to much less of the rest of the breed in the database than most are. But he is fairly inbred at 0.15, which is not uncommon for this breed. Okay, so it's done. So I'm going to push summary, and that's going to pull up the test breeding between these 2. Now, usually we only recommend category 6 and up for breedings because otherwise you're going to start getting pretty high in your IRs. And this kind of breeding is probably going to go pretty high in IR because this breed is you guys, Dobermans, are pretty close in your relatedness. You don't have a lot of different genetics in the breed. So anyway, the higher up you go up in categories, the less related they will be. So let's pull up this litter summary. Now, if you guys had photos here, the photos would show up here. You can see the puppies would be homozygous for this very common DLA type that most Dobermans have. Your average outlier index, remember this is the pulse of a bottleneck, is 0.22, meaning that you'll be significantly above breed average. Your range will be 0.11 to 0.36. So I would recommend, if I did this breeding, to test all the puppies and place some consideration on the ones that fall above your breed average. Because once these different genetics are gone, you won't be able to get them back in the breed. Okay, so they're equivalent of half first cousins or first cousins once removed. Now, their average IR gets kind of high at 0.07. Dr. Peterson says that around 0.15 is the cutoff for being fairly inbred. And so here, a lot of the litter would fall above that. So you would have to decide whether or not you want to take a risk of having fairly high inbred puppies. And you can see the range here is negative 0.29 all the way up to almost 0.5. That's pretty inbred. But again, this breed will have ranges that goes high in IRs and most test breedings because most Dobermans are fairly related. So this is a breeding, I don't know. So it would depend on how the dogs look on paper together and what's the goals of the breedings. Just know that your IRs would go fairly high. Okay, I think that's all I'm going to do for right now. I will try to do more for you guys in the future, but I hope you enjoy this. Thank you for watching.